Peace, peace. This is Keeping It Conscious with the Hood Mystic, brought to you by the wonderful folks at Hood Mystic Spiritual Advisory and hoodmystic.com. I am the Hood Mystic, El Melchizedek. Today we are talking about consciousness and keeping it conscious. This is a webisode series where we deal with topics, ideas, news stories, and we put them through the scope of spirituality and occult thought, and personal power. In this episode, we are going to discuss the personal ritual, the context of ritual, and how we could actually incorporate and use ritual on a conscious level. So hence the title, Keeping It Conscious, because a lot of these things happen on a level outside of themselves. And so the first point is we want to talk about religion and what is a religion. So if we were to look up religion, the etymology of the word religion and what it means, it actually means to bind. And so what they are actually doing in religion is binding you to a force outside of yourself. And so the context of religion, if you look up the definition of the word religion, you will find a religious connotation to the word. So as a conscious individual in this world, the ones with the conscious mind, we must take this religion and we must bind it to ourselves. You understand? And we take these things out of the social mass context, and we take these things in a personal individual context, and we don't wait for others to do things. We start to do things for ourselves because we are working under the principle that a better me equates to a better world if we are using conscious ideologies and conscious thought. So moving forward, when we look at this concept of ritual, we are taking it outside of the religious and social context and religious and social connotations. We are looking, at the concept of ritual on a personal level. So what does that mean? So in life on this earth, it needs to be understood that we all play a role in this planet. We all have a particular part. We all have a particular action. So the conscious individual, the magician, says, fuck all that, and says, I'm going to create my own goddamn life. I'm not about to be no goddamn slave. You got me like playing the part. And so what we're going to get into is the common synonyms associated with the word ritual to get you to understand why we even think the way we think and have the particular thoughts we have as melanated people in this society, and especially being conscious. So us being conscious, we have to break away from all of the ritual that we've been put through to get into our right mind to start to create. Because understanding this information but still participating in the ritual get you the same results, thus rendering the information useless. So that's why episode 1 for Keeping It Conscious, we discussed the ritual, because the ritual is the most important part, and we want to take it out of the spookism. You know why the shit looks bad and the shit looks scary? Is because that's real power, and you fear what you don't understand. You don't fear it because it's bad, and that's something that we need to understand. So by using your own thoughts and actions at a cause level, so what are we doing with a ritual? We are directing more energy towards a particular point of reference, a particular cause. We are doing extra. We are aligning the elements. We are understanding the universe at a cause level, and we are impacting our subconscious mind, and we are really making things happen on a deep level. We are developing our own imagination. We are developing our own mind's eye, our inner vision. And honestly, we want to work with that. We want to build that because that's all that matters. So you mean to tell me your mind's eye is less important than somebody else's? That somebody else's vision for you is more important than the vision that you have for yourself. So we want to discuss how we expand upon our vision for ourselves through the art of ritual that we develop for ourselves, not based upon some religion that's binding us to this imaginary being. We want to bind to the thing that is true within us, our soul. We want to bind ourselves to our spirit. So we want to connect on that level. We want to do things from that perspective. So any ritual that you perform should be a personal expression of your own personal desires. Why would you have it any other way? But on a level where you don't understand and you don't have this information and you don't research this knowledge, then it's being done to you. You don't even got a mind because you're not developing it. Understand that. One of the purpose of the ritual is to interact with your subconscious mind. The reason for this is because we know that this is where the real magic in our lives occurs, our subconscious mind. And if we can truly impact the subconscious mind, then we can truly impact our lives. Thus, we want to understand this. We want to do our own research. Most of my information for this webisode is coming from Phil Cooper, Liber Al, and also The Magician. So, get into these books, get into this knowledge, do your own studies, come up with your own realizations. I'm just more or less, if you never heard of a ritual in this particular context, I'm just trying to shed some light and really take it from the mass perspective and really do it from the Illuminati, which means just the illuminated one's perspective, how they could be one person and control 10 people, and that 10 people can control 1,000,000 people. And that's how we trying to think. We're trying to think from an illuminated perspective. We trying to really understand our power, and really reverse some negative mind control and create a positive mind control that we want to control our own minds. You understand? We don't want to keep falling for these traps that, whoever is doing it, but we're going to get into that. So, like I said earlier, we were going to talk about the synonyms surrounding the word ritual to see how everything is a ritual. Even the fact that, melanated people are classified as black or niggers or negroes or colored people or slaves. That's a ritual, because a synonym for ritual is tradition and stereotype and custom and protocol, routine. You understand? Routine. You know what I'm saying? So, ultimately, say for instance, you don't want to be a slave no more. You want to be a god. The slave in you has been brought about by a particular act, custom, tradition, stereotype, repetitive programming to have you develop a particular mindset to say, damn, I gotta go get a job. So in order to reverse that, to say, I want to be an entrepreneur, or I want to be, uber successful, then what has to happen on the inverse side? And I want to know if this is making sense. The traditions have to change. The customs have to change. The practices have to change. The stereotypes have to change. And we have to be deliberate about that and create a particular habit surrounding the new energy that we want to create for ourselves. And I'm hoping that I'm making sense. Honestly, the habits that we keep are the real ritual that we do on a personal level. So simply changing the habits and align with more successful ideologies and circumstances for ourselves that we want. Say, for instance, more money, love in our lives. So changing the habits around the thoughts surrounding the lack will create a different ceremony, a different ritual, and we will start to change our lives. And the reason that our lives don't change is because we don't change it from that aspect. So you want to change it from the surface. You want to get money, right? Okay, give you some money, but the traditions haven't changed. The acts haven't changed. The customs haven't changed. The way you feel about yourself hasn't changed. The only thing that changed is that you have money now. But nothing really changed, and you revert back to a place where you don't want to, and it's that perpetual fear, and that's that hamster on the wheel. That's that rat race. Really not knowing how to tap into your power, or not even realizing that you in the goddamn, you're not going anywhere because you're not changing on a deeper level. You're not changing at a subconscious level. The subconscious mind is receptive to symbols in the art of symbology. So the symbols that we use in this ritual that we create for ourselves, we must contemplate it and really see what these symbols actually mean to you. Really have us, an example of a symbol might be a dollar bill. And you doing a money ritual, and so this dollar represents the windfall of dollars that, as contemplating on the dollar that you are objectifying at this particular moment that you are trying to replicate. You want to really feel the energy of that, so you visualize it and you really create a semblance around that particular object that you objectify. And maybe money was a bad example, but moving forward, we're going to talk about the different ways to set up a ritual and the different symbols that one could possibly use. And also, there's also a blog pertaining to the webisode, so if you want to have something to follow along as I'm speaking, so it's just not me you just listening. It's also a visual aid with pictures as well, so you will be able to follow along with the video as well. I should have said that at the beginning, but 9 times out of 10 you've found the video from the website hoodmystic.com. So moving forward, we understand now that the synonyms attached with the word ritual are very discreet and very unbeknownst to us, that our regular everyday routine is a ritual that we are putting on ourselves. So your rituals, your personal rituals, you need to think of it as you being in a movie, a play, or a book, and you being the star. Don't think of it any other way. Please don't do that. And just like any movie, play, or book, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. An opening and a closing. And in between the opening and closing, so the opening credits, the closing credits, the actual movie is the rite or the ritual. The credits let you know, hey, it's a movie about to come on, right? And the movie is what it is, and the ending credits is, hey, this movie over, get the fuck up out of here. So think about it in that aspect. So we want to create a story on a spiritual plane so we can really impact our subconscious mind. And you know that movies are, some serious, it's a serious business, and it's a serious thing how it impacts the subconscious. Like you just wouldn't go to a movie and just watch nobody throwing babies off the roof the whole movie. You wouldn't never want to see that. And the reason why you wouldn't never want to see that, because that impacts your feelings in a certain type of way where you just don't want to experience anything like that. So when you are in the movie theater, you can feel yourself emotionally rooting for the hero and being emotionally attached to the hero and his plight, and ooh, is he gonna make it, and da 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 da. So ultimately, when constructing a ritual, you can think about it as simple as that. You generally want to deal with the four elemental forces of the universe, because you want to activate yourself in the different parts of yourself on an energetic symbolic level. So when I was talking about symbols earlier, so your body is the four elements. Your body is earth, water, air, and fire. It begins with fire. You are the breath. The breath is fire. How is the breath fire? What do you mean the breath is fire? Because you can simply breathe out hot air if you so choose to, if you want to. That's a semblance of fire. Fire then brings forth air. Air is the thoughts that one has, and it is the rapid fire mind that we have, the wonderful, beautiful, universal mind that we all collectively share. Water. Your body is 80% water. And the parts of your body that's not water is just water metastasized and to a slowed down vibrational frequency where it's kind of like, it's not really like a rock or a brick. It's kind of elastic, skin, muscle, things of that nature. Even bone is not as tough as a brick. So understanding that water brings about earth. So I've explained to you how the human body on a symbolic level, earth, water, air, and fire is only talking about the human body. So you want to align the symbols based upon what fire do you want to bring to the table? What air do you want to bring to the table? So fire could be a candle. Air could be an incense. Water could be, a bowl of water. And the earth could be your crystals. And you could, set up a situation surrounding those four things. Because once you symbolically combine the four elements, you tap into a level which is called spirit. And you want to also, within the ritual, satisfy your five senses. And you want to satisfy your five senses and immerse yourself into what you're actually doing within the ritual. So within the ritual, the only thing that should matter is the actual ritual. It don't make sense to be doing a ritual and then your kids running around in the living room, your phone ringing off the hook, because you're not completely focused your energy into accessing this. And that's where a lot of people go wrong. Not even go wrong, but the problem with understanding consciousness. Because we got so much superficial shit in the way that we can't focus on it, because we think that doing this and that and the third is better than tapping into our spiritual self and really getting that peace of mind. to really tap into these higher levels. So the imagery, the smell, the taste, whether you got some liquor or some food, the what you feel is very important. What you hear, the music, a great meditation is, listening to your favorite listening to your favorite CD. That's an awesome ritual to really tap into that time where you was 10 or 11, where you could really comprehend the music, and you had that tape or that CD and you just played it, you know what I'm saying, and just just vibe out to it from beginning to end, just really trying to tap into those inner child memories. And that inner child is a very powerful thing to tap into. But this is a ceremony. Another word for ritual is ceremony. So just the same reason why you would have a marriage is the same reason you would want to have a ritual, because you want to marry yourself to your soul. You want to marry yourself to your spirit. You want to get involved in a particular way with yourself that's very intimate, and that it's celebrated and it means something, and it solidifies what you're actually doing in this thing called consciousness. It's not about having the fanciest unks and the largest following and who says the most cleverest shit on Facebook and who has, the most books and all of this crazy shit. It'd be best for you to tap into your own self and see what yourself has to say about life before listening to someone else. That's my opinion, and that's something that I know that I'm right about. It's nothing that you actually need to hear from me or anyone else. You should listen to people who are telling you to listen to yourself, if you are trying to listen to people. So the things you could do during a ritual: you can dance, you can meditate, you can chant, you could have conversations, you can have sex with yourself or with a partner or with multiple people, whatever is in your mind to incorporate within to your particular ritual. And this is not like a one-time thing. This could be a anytime you want to do it, 4 times a year, 4 times a day even. You figure as many times as you want to focus on a particular energy that you want to manifest for yourself, the more the better, because the more input that you give into a particular situation, the more output you could expect to receive. So a lot of people spiritually be slacking on their macking, me included. Thus, I can't complain about the lack of spiritual revelations or whatever the case may be. I may focus on everything but the spirit sometimes, and I suffer the consequences. And then I'll look up like, man, how did I get in this space? Like, okay, I need to refocus, and the best way to refocus is with the ritual. Ashe. Next, we're going to talk about initiation. In the community, I hear a lot of talk about Ifa and Yoruba and priest and Babalaos, and you'll talk to somebody into it, and the next thing you know, they talking about how you need to be talking to they priest or priestess and need to be in a and this, that, and the third. I'm not going to get into whether you should do that or not, but I'm going to talk about initiation from a personal level. How could anybody initiate you into you? They're only going to initiate you into a subjugated system and typecast you and stereotype you into whatever paradigm that they already got set up. And it might not have nothing to do with you, unless it does have something to do with you. If you really feel like you Oshun and you need to go to the school of Oshun and get under a Babalawo and have them tell you what to do for the rest of your life, by all means. But to me, that feels like subjugation, that feels like slavery, and I feel like that hasn't been helping our people thus far. If that's been a system for thousands of years, I ain't feeling the results. That's just my personal opinion. There's no greater secret than the mystery of your being, and the only one that can initiate you into that mystery school is yourself. Initiation means to start. So let's start on the path of self-discovery. Let's try to understand ourselves. I don't really give a shit about Oshun, because I understand that everything is myself. So Oshun is myself. So I'm not going to particularly pinpoint one aspect of myself. And that's what these religions do. They bind you to forces outside of yourself unknowingly. Because you don't even understand that religion means to bind. To bind. Binding spell. Just because they black, it's still the same language. And it's still outside of yourself. We're dealing with inside of ourselves. So we're dealing with the inner world. You can use initiation rituals to figure out your true potential in this existence on this planet. So we want to use particular symbologies because the symbols act as a bridge from your conscious mind to your subconscious. And that's why I can't give you particular symbols that you could use, because you're going to have to use your own symbols. What does fire mean to you? Fire could mean a goddamn iceberg to you because you got burnt by some dry ice when you was a little kid. So every time you see ice, you think about fire. Thus, me showing up with a candle for your ritual representing fire, it ain't gonna work. Cause you think fire, you know what I'm saying? You gotta do you. And if fire mean an iceberg, then you need to put some ice cubes on your altar to represent fire, my nigga. And that's just how it's gonna be. And I can't say you wrong, because these is your bridges, these is your symbols. And I swear, if fire represents ice cubes and dry ice and you got that memory, it's gonna work for you. And it ain't gonna work for nobody else, because don't nobody else got that memory. So setting up and planning a ritual based upon on the things that vibrate with you on an emotional level. So if the only thing you want to do for your ritual is put baby oil on, and when you put the baby oil on, that reminds you that you God, then ashe, so be it. That is the ritual. See, a lot of people want to make this shit super deep, but if you put baby oil on every day for a year and have a particular desire, maybe whatever it may be, and you don't tell nobody, and that's the key, you don't tell nobody what the fuck you doing. So the ritual is baby oil on every day for a whole year, or 30 days, or 21 days. And every time you put that baby oil on, you tap into, you know, your higher self, and this is what you're doing. Now, a voodoo priestess is going to tell you, oh no, you're going to need way more than that to do some ritual. And she right too. But you right with whatever you vibrating with. Because if you're not feeling the ritual, you're not going to feel the results. So me saying baby oil is kind of crazy, and it may not work. But that's just your level of percept. That's just you, nigga, who can't feel that baby oil ain't gonna work. But to a person who's on that level where it vibrates with them like, oh yeah, it will work. So we can't, that's why, that's the important point of keeping it conscious, is that we can't generalize this shit. We can't have a one size fits all mentality with this shit. That's why it won't work as a mass movement. Cause you can only imagine a million niggas doing it however they want to do it. It don't work that way. So you just gonna have to do you. Once again, the focus is to impact the subconscious mind, because that is where change happens. So if you've been ashy all summer and this winter you want to make a commitment to lotion up and oil down your body to get somebody, then that is the ritual. But you got to be real about it. We use our logical mind to plan and prepare for the ritual, but we use our emotions to really power us through the ritual, to really get this feeling of bliss and trance and power, because we're so dedicated to the craziness of it all. The aspect of putting all of our energy and all of our focus into a personal thing. And it's not about telling everybody. It's like a ritual, a personal ritual is like a movie you watching with Eddie Murphy and all them actors. And at the middle of the movie, they like, hey man, don't take this shit seriously. We just acting, y'all. The point of a movie and acting and ritual is you emotionally connect to, The Revenant with Leonardo DiCaprio. You felt that shit. He felt that shit. You thought he really got fucked up by that bear. It's that emotion that you put into it that make you a great actor. That's what we talking about with ritual. So the emotion that you can put through it, even though it may not even be real, but it feel real. That would make it art. That's what make it special. So anything that you do, that you put your heart into, your emotions into, with the correct symbology, because they just not putting the movies together. They got lighting, coloring. You know what I'm saying? You fully immerse with your senses. If you watching The Hateful Eight and they was in the mountains and was cold, you felt a little cold watching that. Cause that is the illusionary act of the Matrix to get you emotionally involved in some fake ass shit. It's all fake. So why are you acting in a movie where you the fucked up one, the downtrodden one? Why is you assimilating on that role? You was born into some fuck shit, and you don't want to do nothing to change it. You want to keep up with those traditions. Well, traditions is rituals, my guy. Understanding that. Trust that. Using and stimulating your senses is very powerful. Changing your mind, changing your habits, changing your perception around a particular thing. That's so goddamn powerful. That's probably the most powerful thing we got going. And it's so powerful that it's working as we speak. Because you can't emotionally connect to every atrocity that's going on in the planet. Your whole life would just be like, let's just all cry together simultaneously. We should just walk out the door and just start crying. Everybody out this bitch should just cry. When somebody get $1 million, LeBron James dunk a basketball, your favorite team win a football, you shouldn't even be happy about that shit, because there's so much fucked up shit going on in the world that we shouldn't celebrate shit. And that's real talk. Fuck what the news is saying. Like, Go to some of these small towns in your state, and you gonna see pain, death, tragedy, hurt, pain. And then go to the third world. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on and on. Why we shouldn't do anything but cry. So, since we're not going to do that, since we know that we're blocked off emotionally from horrible things, then let's start using those emotions to bring about some healing and change in the world instead of acting like the shit is not happening, or we can't do anything about it to better ourselves. Like I started off saying that a better world is a better you, or a better you equates to a better world. So what are you doing to really tap into who you truly are and what you want to operate from your maximum potential point to really make some changes in the world instead of just complaining and feeling powerless and feeling like you can't do shit to help the world? The answer and the solution is in you operating from a maximum potential point. So you got to know what you're dealing with and who you are. I'm going to tell you that you're not your body. I'm going to tell you that you got a spirit and you got a soul. You need to start working with that shit because that's your real power. It's called feminine energy, not female energy, feminine energy. We operate from a positive paradigm. We use our positive energy. We're told to stay positive, right? That's masculine energy, not male energy. That's just masculine. We got masculinity in us. We got femininity in us. But the feminine energy is represented by our subconscious mind, represented by our belly or the womb. You figure the brain's so great and powerful. Why aren't babies in your head if that's where your real power at? You ever think about that? The baby is in. This is that's the shit right there. That stomach, that gut. That's the real. That's where it's at right there. So ritual. I say all that to say, we talk about these things, so you can check out the site www.hoodmystic.com. We talk about the subconscious mind. We talk about the solar plexus. So I'm not going to go over all of these concepts, but the information is there. And like I said, it's typed out and it's referenceable. So just do your own research and really tap into your true power. Really use the symbols, understand the planets, and understand what's going on. It's not a simple thing. The matrix is set up to be complicated, but that don't mean we should just sit back and just complain and shit. And I'm really speaking to the conscious individuals, the ones who are dealing with their energy and really trying to make a change. So, reach out. Let's have a conversation. One thing I want to talk about, one of the major rituals in our community is the club. So, you got this dancing, the music, the low lights, the alcohol, that's the induced trance and bliss I was talking about. You got the perfume and the cologne and just the energy. And this is just the ritual. And the music is just... And then you see the personality come out. Once those emotions and people hit the dance floor and they show you a different side of themselves. And people do this week in, week out. It's a ritual. And you don't want to bind yourself to those particular entities, those lower entities. Thus, you want to create a different ritual and really bind yourself to yourself, no matter what you're doing. Even going to church every Sunday, that's a ritual. Going to work, that's a ritual. You're binding yourself to that corporate entity, whether it be McDonald's or whatever the case may be, Staples. Your personal energy is binded to Staples. You know what I'm saying? So they get to use your energy at will. So really do some research. Like I said, Phil Cooper, the magician, Libra Owl. Definitely check out the site www.hoodmystic.com. This was Keeping It Conscious, episode 1. We discussed ritual, man. If there's any questions or you want to discuss, hit me up. And this webisode was brought to you by Hood Mystic Spiritual Advisory. Please contact us. We're on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Hood Mystic. We're available for tarot readings, astrology readings, and the likes, spiritual advisory, spiritual coaching. So just feel free to hit me up, man. I talk back and I don't bite, man. It's the Hood Mystic, El Melchizedek, and this is Keeping It Conscious. This is episode 1, The Ritual.